Alright, it is time to check out 51 Worldwide Games. Which is, for everyone who has been wondering if Nintendo will release any games in 2020, here you have 51 games. Isn't that exactly what you wanted? Basically, we're looking at Nintendo's attempt to teach little children how to become hardcore gamblers. So gambling is the name of the game. The way this is presented, okay, so obviously a huge list of 51 games is a bit overwhelming. So what they thought of was giving you like these characters that order games according to a theme. So you have like social games. I don't even know what would be in there. Whatever. You have touch control games, which we're not gonna look at too much right now, of course, because I can't capture that. Worldwide classics, card games, whatever, And of course, we have a Japanese person who represents Nintendo's rich history, which we want to check out today. Okay. So one aspect about the game that I enjoy is that it takes all of these multitude of games and it's how should I put it? It looks at them from a bit of a cultural perspective. So there is this one game, there is a board game that exists on our planet, and we found it in ancient Egypt and all over the place, really, in many other locations as well. It's a really old board game and no one knows how it's played anymore. It looks interesting, and we have some professors who are trying to come up with rules for a game that looks that way, but obviously that is a piece of human culture that is dead. So looking at it from that perspective made me realize that games are really an intricate part of our culture, and that's why it's cool that we have like a collection of all these games that are known in some regions and in others not so much. So obviously, from that perspective, I'm more interested in games that I'm not familiar with. And so we have this Nintendo-based lady here, which I started out with, which gives you the games that Nintendo used to manufacture like way before they made video games. And maybe you've heard of these Hanafuda cards. Hanafuda. So it's kind of fun to just go and check out this game that I've heard about but never really played, right?
Can't go wrong with the traditional
Japanese. It always starts with an introduction like this, where you basically have a typical toxic male and a typical feminist telling him not to mansplaining her. So basically that's really the theme of pretty much every single conversation, which gets a bit tiresome, to be honest, but you have like, for every month you have 4 cards, and you always put 2 cards from the same month together, and you try to get the ones that look more interesting. Because I couldn't really tell you what sets are called there, you try to collect them into. But obviously here we have the empty hill, not that I would know which month this represents. Maybe this is winter? I mean, that would make sense, right? But either way, so you have this plain one, you have one with 3 figures, and the 3 figures one is probably worth more, so I'm gonna take that. Yeah, it's a seeds set, whatever that means. And yes, I have Mario-based Hanafuda cards, even though traditionally, of course, they're not Mario-based at all. So yeah, making these cards is how Nintendo used to make their money before they got into this whole silly video game business. So I'm always trying to go for these poetry slips, because I feel like I can recognize those. It's kind of sad, but that's those poetry slips always look. I don't know what cherry blossom viewing means. I mean, this Bowser card looks cool. But I'm going to go for the poetry slip, because I only need one more now, I think. Fuck! It's really not looking good, I think.
4 lights with rain.
Oh, I got 4 lights with rain. Of course, that is what I was aiming for. That much should be obvious. And of course I win with 16 points versus 2. Because I got 14 points due to my brilliant tactic. And that is what Hanavuna is like. We're jumping to another game. Another game that I've been dedicating a lot of time to is Richie Mahjong. Because, of course...
The pieces go clack when you put them down.
That's the least useful thing you've ever said.
Okay. Yeah, so this is what I was talking about. Like, I used to be one of those people who think Mahjong is this little... So there's Mahjong Solitaire, it's called, which is what I thought Mahjong was. But that is not what Mahjong is. Mahjong is actually a brutal serious business gambling game. It's played by like Yakuza people and whatnot. So basically, if you wanted your kid to learn how to hardcore gamble, then this is the game to get them. I'm gonna go for the weakest hand possible, just trying to survive this round any way I can. Oh, and I need to get rid of all the 1s and 9s actually. That is something. So, okay, right now just going for a very primitive hand with only these normal color tiles. And a valuable lesson that I already had to learn is that you cannot include 9s and 1s in these kinds of sets. Which should be obvious to anyone, but not for me, of course. Come on! What?
Run!
Screw this. And another round lost. I'm losing all the time in this. And this is about as much patience as I have. And we can get out, and it actually creates a bookmark here, and we can continue playing at some other time, which is not happening. Where do I put in the money? Oh, I guess we're playing for actual chips this time. Not, but you know, it doesn't seem like we can. Oh, we can raise. I see. I'm wiping the floor with these CPUs. Now this is some footage I'll leave in. So yeah, in the meantime, you always have these explanations that show you like all the different hands. I'm gonna wreck these guys, cause look at their money. They have nothing, nothing.
Bet.
Bye bye. I financially ruined. Okay, now we can play for body parts. I'm accepting fingers, toes, and ears. Well, obviously, I would win. So those 2 people on the bottom will live in their cards from now, and that's really the point of gambling, kids. I mean, something I find interesting is that there's also some like video gamey games in there. So it's not only just like a collection of 51 board games, but more like of a collection of 51 games in general. So this is like a nice little tennis video game.
15 left.
And if humanity wasn't bound by physics the way it is, then this could be a real game, I guess. But of course, there is no game in the world, no ball in the world that would float this nicely. And yeah, and also, you know, as you play this stuff, it's filled with trivia and whatnot. If you wonder about the online mode, you can play online just fine. I doubt we will find anyone right now. But the way it works is you just select 3 games that you want to play. And the game will try to match you with someone who wants to play one of these 3 games, which is a cool idea, I think. Because you don't know what you will get, but it's still something you will enjoy, most likely. So this is kind of like, you know, one of the first video games. What's lob shot? I suggest you don't try to reverse. Uh-oh, this might be a problem. Oh my god. Here with the slot cars. I can't show you this because I only have one switch, but if you have several switches... So yeah, this is kinda cool if you have several switches. We've seen this kind of functionality before, but... Still.
Wow!
This is basically how I build courses with this thing, so...
True pros only. Now that's my heart's desire.
I mean, a lot of these games are kind of games you would find on a cell phone nowadays.
Not only that, but if you capture an enemy piece, it joins your side.
What? That sounds way cooler than chess.
Alright. I'll stop comparing it to chess.
There's more to it than that, of course.
I don't know, most board games really piss me off, so I know which one. Like, we're playing this one. This one I like. This one I've always liked. No! Why can't I get proper feedback? No! No way! This is horrible! Okay, so learning, don't mix so many colors. Oh no, what was I thinking? Okay, in step 2 we had one correct. Okay, and we know that pink can't be it. No. What? Oh my god, I'm a genius. Wow, that was pure luck actually. Alright, we're gonna check out one last game, cause because I think it's funny. So they call it's Uno, but only they call it last card. I don't know if that's, you know, if it's called that anywhere else in the world. If you are surrounded by a group of completely brain dead people, then you can always play this one. That is what I've learned in my life. Just turn off your brain. This is, you know, this is great for oh my god, what's going on? This is, I guess the game is listening to me, but this is great, you know, when you are in a room with 3 people that are all mentally handicapped, and it's best that no one speaks a word for an hour or so, then you get out this game. No reason to talk.
Finish.
No reason to think. Fuck this. How did someone get in behind me? That's an accomplishment. So yeah, the way that I feel about this game, really, just to conclude this, I'm really having fun just discovering these games slowly, one by one. It's not the kind of game where you sit down and play it for a few hours to try to finish it or anything. So forget about looking at it that way. But as something you carry with you on the go, for example, and check out new games every now and then, it's nice. It does a good job of introducing the games, and yeah, it's fun to just check out a game for 5 minutes and move on. Actually. And then, of course, the ones you enjoy, you can come back with. And of course, what's real important is the multiplayer component. So if you want to play some normal games with a kid, that could be great. And yeah, it's well done, I think.